Go ahead and. So welcome, everybody. We have a lot to cover tonight. And I just put my agenda upside down. So I can't read it. First thing I'd like to do is I'd entertain a motion to allow Lois to join us via Zoom.
So moved.
Second, any discussion?
That was Valerie and Josh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, call the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
We're with it. All right.
Aye. Chair votes aye. So that
1,
makes
2,
it
3,
6-0.
4, 5,
6,
6. We have a new person.
we do.
Valerie,
So
nice
the
to
next thing that's not on the agenda, which is gonna be the first thing on the agenda, is for us to welcome Jeff. And just give us a little bit of introduction, then we'll go around the room. and tell you who we are.
Jeff Potter. I've been in the county for 18 years. Native Virginian, lived all over, was in Seattle before I moved here. Technology is basically what I work in, and now I'm a CTO for finance in Richmond. So anyway, that's what I do.
Valerie Pellmountain. I've also been in the county for 18 years. Originally from New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, then moved south. I was the Dean of Workforce Services at Piedmont Virginia Community College for 16 years. I think, and now I'm retired.
I'm Josh Bauer. I've lived here for 8 years, moved here in 2015, just north of Louisville.
Ben Hudson, I work at the high school as a teacher, and I'm looking forward to retiring as well.
He's not looking forward to retirement.
44 days, yeah.
Britt,
Brittany Gray, local realtor, been here since '95 and can't seem to get away.
Rudy Garcia, I've been here since 2001. And former military, my wife and I both retired sergeant majors. So very active in the community. Okay. Next up are the minutes from the April meeting.
Oh, the consent agenda.
Do what?
It's changed to consent agenda.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes, the treasurer's report, and the EdTech report that was sent to us in advance.
No. Oh, second,
Motion
I
by
got it.
Josh, second by Valerie. Do we have any questions, comments, corrections, or anything we want to exclude from the consent agenda? Hearing none, call for the vote. And in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Lois? Lois?
Yes,
Okay, chair votes aye, 7-0. Rolling through your puppy. Okay, so is Steve on yet?
Yes.
With your permission, I'm going to flip the agenda and move the reports till after we finish with the briefings. And we'll put that at the end, so we'll make sure we get our visitors in here. So last month, we had approved in theory to invest some portion of the assets that we currently have into certificates of deposit. After that meeting, I got a phone call from Eric, who reminded me that we have the option of investing in the Virginia investment pool as we do with the county. So because we had already said yes, I asked Ben to stop and hold till we met here. And we're gonna have a quick briefing by the folks from the Virginia investment pool about what they do, how they do it, and then we'll have a discussion and see if we want to modify our direction and move with the VIP as opposed to the CDs. So, Steve,
Yes, hello.
thank you for taking your time, sir. And your quick
Absolutely, yeah.
response.
I'm sorry, you ready for me to begin?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a presentation it looks like I'm not able to share. Is that something that I can be granted permission to share?
If you click share, you can actually not make him the host. So if you click, there's a little arrow right by share screen. See that? Click on that and then multiple participants. There you go.
All right, we're opening the door for everybody there, Josh.
Now the good news, you don't have to make him the host. So when he leaves, it doesn't kill the signal.
Okay, let me, see if that pops up. Is that, I'm not really seeing it on mine. Are you able to see that?
In design mode, it's not a presentation, but it's in design mode. There you go. Your cursor's on it now.
Okay. Well, I'll just run through this. I guess this has the information. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Again, I'm Steve Mulroy with VML Vaco Finance, and have some slides, as was said, about the Virginia Investment Pool. Just a moment about VML Vaco Finance. We are a nonprofit established 20 years ago to provide financial services to political subdivisions throughout Virginia. We're registered as municipal advisors, and we also provide a range of services. In addition to financing and municipal advisory, we also have investment programs, the Pooled OPEB Trust, as well as the Virginia Investment Pool, and we do provide accounting services. With that being said, I'll talk about the VIP. That was established 10 years ago in 2013, and local treasurers came together to create this. Essentially, they're investing jointly. They're pooling their funds together to invest jointly. In 2017, the General Assembly passed legislation that authorized VIP, or similar pooled OPEB, Virginia Investment Pool and similar trust that are established through the joint exercise of powers as an authorized investment for local treasurers. It's nonprofit in the sense, tax exempt, that it's in the Internal Revenue Code. It's Section 115. I think one of the key distinguishing features of VIP is that it is not, it's not a product or some offering of a third party. It's actually local governments getting together and investing jointly, through a trust. The benefits, additional benefits, we've been around for 10 years, have a consistent record of competitive returns. The portfolios, we have the high ratings from Standard & Poor's, and it's also designed and overseen by local treasurers. So it has a very user friendly interface, and the portfolios are, very high quality that kind of makes sense and are appropriate for local governments and political subdivisions. When we started the program, we worked with the Board of Trustees to do through an RFP process to identify and hire a top fund manager. We ended up hiring Public Trust Advisors. They're registered as a investment advisor. They manage over 75 billion of fixed income securities, focused really solely on the local government and state government portfolios. On the next slide here, there's a Board of Trustees, as I mentioned, that has oversight. I think this is one of the greatest strengths. It ranges from Arlington County to City of Virginia Beach, Chesterfield County, out to Washington County. So we really, in terms of size and dispersion across the state, we really kind of cover the ground, cover the state from that standpoint. And again, these all are participating in the Virginia Investment Pool. So they really, have a vested interest in making sure that the program is well done.
Steve, is it possible to increase the size? We can't read what's on the screen, or at least I can't.
Presentation.
Let me,
Presentation mode would be great.
Okay,
Just go to
apologies.
Slideshow,
Yep, let me do that.
then from current slide. There you go.
Is
There
that
you
more
go. Thank you.
legible?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. So we do have two portfolios, a daily liquidity pool. Those are funds for funds that are needed on an immediate basis. As its name implies, liquidity, it has daily liquidity. It's rated the highest rating by S&P, the AAA rating. The 1 to 3 year fund, those are for funds that are really reserves that you're carrying over year in and year out. That is a mark-to-market portfolio, so there might be a little bit of volatility in that fund. That is AA plus. By way of comparison, the S&P rates treasuries as AA plus. So that really essentially kind of caps the upper bound, but at very high quality. As of March 31st, we had over 150 participants and about $2 billion in assets invested. On this slide, this just kind of two takeaways. One is that the portfolios are complementary. The green on this chart represents cash flows where your balances are rising and falling as receipts come in and then you're spending the monies down. Those funds are really ideal for the liquidity pool because you need ready access to them. You can't really be subject to mark-to-market risk, interest rate risk, if you will. The gray bar represents a cushion that you typically don't dip into, but you still want to have in case some unforeseen expense comes up. Want to have at least 10, maybe 20% of your balances in a liquidity pool that, again, is very readily accessible. The blue on this chart represents funds that you're investing year in and year out. And those are funds that you don't really anticipate needing in the near term, next, call it 12 to 18 months, at least. Those funds are more appropriate to be invested in the 1 to 3 year fund. So just to drill down on some features of the liquidity pool, it is a stable value, as its name suggests, meaning a dollar in, dollar out. One of the nice things about this is it has a 2 p.m. cutoff. So it's very liquid, very easy to access. You can get same day funds up until 2 o'clock. I mentioned the AAA rating. The current yield is 5.1%. There's a slide in a couple pages that shows it's very sensitive to what the Federal Open Market Committee is doing. So as the Fed has raised its overnight rate, this rate has tracked higher as well. There's no minimum balance. There's no account maintenance fee. The other points maybe not apply here, but you can check details of our fund on the virginiainvestmentpool.org. This is the chart I was talking about. So back in the beginning of 2022, the yield was around 10 basis points. The federal funds, the overnight rate was between 0 and 25 basis points. So it really, as Fed started raising rates in March of 2022, the liquidity pool yields has climbed as well. The thinking is the Fed's going to pause at this point. Fed's maintaining that they're not going to lower rates. The market thinks they might, but for now, the yield is in that 5.1% range. The 1 to 3 year portfolio, this has access twice a month. The portfolio, the value is struck twice a month, on the 15th and last business day. It has a AA plus rating, meaning that again, the U.S. Treasuries are rated AA plus as well. S1 indicates that it's of the funds that S&P rates, it's among the least volatile. At the end of March, the book yield was 244. For new investors coming in, though, buying at current prices, the market yield, more appropriate measure for new investors is in the 4.23% range. This slide, just to kind of demonstrate on the right-hand side, the November 2022, the distribution, it is a very high quality portfolio. About 90% are US Treasuries. More recently, that's kind of dipped down to about 85%. Corporate notes are about 7.5%. And then the federal agencies, these are highly rated. They're not guaranteed by the federal government, but there's an implied guarantee. They make up a couple percent as well. And that ebbs and flows. Look at the left-hand side. Back 5 years ago, corporate notes were close to 20%. The agencies were approaching 30%. So the portfolio manager is actively managing the portfolio and deciding what offers the best value at that point in time in the market. This slide it's somewhat busy, but just to draw attention to a couple of points. The 3-month T-bill on the left-hand side represents a liquidity pool. The average annual return represented by this bar over the last 20 years was 1.28%. The 1 to 3 year strategy that we pursue, and these returns are based on indices because we don't have a 20-year track record. The average annual return of the 1 to 3 strategy that we pursue is 1.81%. So investing out a little bit longer duration, longer maturity picks up about 0.5% a year on average. The offset is the yellow line, which represents the volatility or the negative quarters. The 3-month T-bill, which is a good proxy for the liquidity pool, had 0 negative quarters over that 20-year period. The 1 to 3 year strategy had 20% of the quarters were negative. So there is volatility in the 1 to 3, and I caution local governments and authorities that if they're interested in that fund, you really have to understand how it works. And there may be periods where it does not perform as well, but over time it does generate a better return. Here is another example or details on the performance. The green obviously is positive performance of the 1 to 3. Again, this is the indices or the index rather. Up until 2021, the 1 to 3 year fund did not have a negative year of returns. In 21, and then on the heels of that 22, it had 2 negative years. I think the worst is behind us. If the Fed truly does pause or start lowering rates, we should start seeing some more green. In fact, the first quarter was about a positive 1.5% return. So 2 quarters in a row of positive returns. Again, can't really predict the future, but based on history and the way the fund kind of operates, if rates are stable or dropping, performance is very strong in this. And then the last slide is just, we have an online portal. It's a very easy to use portal with drop-down menus where you can transact, move monies in and out of the fund. You can get confirmation statements. You can also get monthly statements. It's a very secure portal where you have the multi-factor authentication. So you'll get an email or a text with a code to confirm your identity. You can have confirmations sent to multiple people so that you have many eyes on the activity in the account. You can also set up the online portal to have dual authentication. So I'll pause there. That was kind of a lot to download, but see if there's questions that I could answer on that.
So, folks,
How often do you rebalance your blend? Because you had Freddie Mac, and I was assuming that was, you bounced out of it because of the overnight rate and the anticipated housing drop for that. So how often do you rebalance your blend?
Yeah, so the portfolio manager is looking at that on a daily basis, and that security distribution was just on the one portfolio, the 1 to 3. So if you look at it month to month, it could change each month. They don't have a set kind of monthly or quarterly schedule where they're doing an automatic rebalancing. I mean, they're just essentially what they're looking at is the treasury yield is kind of the standard. And if they can get incrementally higher yields on the other types of securities that are attractive enough relative to the, you know, the incremental additional risk, they'll buy it. But if they don't feel that the value is there, they won't buy it. So again, it's kind of on a real-time, day-to-day basis. There's not a set schedule.
Okay.
The corporate, the slide before that you showed all the years, including the last year of 2022. I don't understand those negative numbers because I buy that stuff all the time myself. I mean, literally, I buy the stuff that for myself all the time. Plus, I was in investment banking. So it must be the corporate that has gone negative. And so what do you invest in corporate?
Well, I mean, the mark-to-market treasuries, I mean, that's kind of what's causing some of the banking problems is depositors are pulling cash out and they're sitting on treasuries that have, you know, until they had to liquidate paper losses. So, I mean, that's treasuries as well as corporates.
So you're talking about mismatch of duration? Is that what we're talking about? Is that why it's negative?
No, because this is maybe the bank was a bad example. I mean, this is not a bank. It's marked to market twice a month. So, you know, the investors don't have daily access to these funds. And you know, the losses are really paper losses based on rising interest rates. And, you know, as I mentioned, I mean, the last 2 quarters, there's been positive returns as it appears that we're closer to the end of the rate hike cycle.
I agree with you. And so the 1 to 3 corporate bonds that you bought, that's where the mismatch of the duration for the interest rate is. And that's why it's gone negative?
No, I mean, it's the negatives are kind of across the board in the holdings, the agencies, the treasuries. It's not really specific to the corporate securities. And I wouldn't.
The duration is the problem of holding it.
Well, Lois, it's a combination of duration and also the fact that they've got money going in and going out of this all the time. So when they go back to reinvest, that's what's causing the heartburn.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess I would say, if I could add, I think it's important to just make sure that there's an understanding that there's 2 portfolios. This is the 1 to 3. If there's, you know, discomfort with the red on this chart, the liquidity pool is really the ideal then, because that is a dollar in, dollar out. It's the AAA rated, and the 1 to 3 has a duration of about 1.7 years. The liquidity pool can go up to 60 days. You know, right now it's anywhere from 20 to 50 days. Right now it's about 20 days as the Fed's been raising rates. You know, so that would be a more appropriate vehicle, you know, for short-term money or monies that you really want to have more assurance that there's not market fluctuations.
Who else?
Thank you.
No, that was part of it was, you know, if we're looking at this, how available it is, because if an opportunity comes about, we don't want to wait 3 years.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, so when Eric and I talked about this, the thinking is we already conceptually we approved going into CDs, right? Going into the stable fund is where the most equivalent to a CD without the issue that the CD causes of having to potentially pay penalties if we get out early. So the stable is functioning pretty much like a money market fund. Okay.
Yeah, well said. I mean, essentially that is how it functions.
And that was my concern with the shovel-ready sites program money, like, I mean, so we haven't used it in a while, but, you know, there could be a time where a lot of the money goes out and without being locked into some type of CD. If we're getting the same type of interest earnings and we've got flexibility, it makes sense to just go into this.
Yep.
And plus the whole platform too, I mean, you all can move a bunch, you know, other pots of money in there as well. I mean, you can have sub
Yeah,
accounts. under
so,
one big
you know, when
account.
we get, so when the county does, when we get a pass through, right? We can drop that into this for the 1 or 2 days that it takes to process, then pull it back out. When Ben writes the check.
And as luck would have it, the cash that we have available has been not really excitable. But as luck would have it, we would go and invest it. Next thing you know, Jennifer's like, hey, guess what? This super
So
awesome opportunity
So
came
the
about.
sta- the stable, the net asset value stable is really where we should be if we decide to do this, because it gives us the flexibility that the CD doesn't, and it gives us the protection that the CD does, and gives us the rates of return that the CD does.
Yeah, I think this is exciting.
And, yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
and so most of you know, but you don't. So I sit on the county finance board. I'm the citizen rep for the county finance board. And we've had this discussion as well, and we have moved most of the assets that are in VIP into the stable value
And the county's been on the VIP now for,
since 2018.
I think it's earlier than that.
17?
Yeah, we've been in it for a while, and so, again, you know, we you know, monitored funds between the 1, the 3 and the stable, and, you know, with, you know, the finance board and the treasurer had to make adjustments, making sure that we're getting the best earnings from the county, so.
So until the interest rates were up, stable value was doing nothing, right? But thank you, Fed.
Yeah.
This has been good for localities. So,
Good.
so Steve, what else should we have asked you that we did not ask you?
No, these are great questions, and I mean, I agree with what you're saying, that if you don't want the funds to be locked up, and, you know, the 1 to 3 monies are not locked up, but, you know, the ideal time to take them out is when rates are stable or falling. To take monies out now, you'd be locking in losses. So to have like monies that you can tap into quickly, I think the stable NAV pool is an ideal pool. I think the last slide I have here is just the steps to joining. You know, the process, it's a trust agreement created through the joint exercise of powers. So the authority, you know, the EDA would need to pass a resolution, you know, authorizing joining. And then the chief investment officer that you all designate, you know, would just execute a joiner agreement, essentially saying we're going to join the trust and follow the rules found in the trust. And then there's a account registration form, which basically just gives, you know, the name of the account, who the contacts are, you know, your bank information, so that you can move money, you know, back and forth just by going online and, you know, either doing an ACH or a wire. And again, just to reiterate that, you know, that there's no minimum balance, there's no account maintenance fees. Wires, ACH, we do not charge a fee. That's covered by the program. You know, we don't charge you that fee. So, and the liquidity pool, there's no explicit charges. You would receive the net income would be posted to your account. The administrative and investment management fee would be netted out of that. And it can be up to 0.15, you know, 15 basis points now. And we do adjust that downward depending on the market situation. Certainly don't, you know, when the income was 10 basis points, we weren't charging 15. You know, we were reducing that so that, you know, folks would at least see a positive income.
So Steve, that raises a good question. So the returns that you showed on stable, was that net of fees or gross?
The 510 is net.
Yes.
So
Net.
that is net. So that's the fees
Awesome.
have been taken out of that, and that's what you would see on your statement.
Great, thanks. And last go around. Anybody else have any questions for Steve?
Do they have a max bibs that they take? Is there a max?
15, I think
Is it
it's
15 the max? Is 15 your max BIPS number? Or can you go
Yes, on the liquidity pool, yes.
above? Okay.
Okay. Steve, we will circle back around with you, so we'll let you go since you're a busy man, and that was awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, please let me know if there's any follow-up questions. And again, thanks for the opportunity to give the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye.
Okay. So we have this under unfinished business. So we could have some more conversation and pass that resolution tonight. Anybody have any concerns or more questions? Dan, you're the one that's got to do this. You feel comfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
I continue to be excited that we're doing something other
Amen.
than just letting the money sit,
Amen.
so.
I agree. To me, we had the discussion last month.
Okay.
What we're doing is just changing
The instrument.
yeah,
Okay.
This is great. Excellent.
thanks,
You good?
I feel the same. with that one.
Jeff, I know you're the newcomer. But
That's good. I
It's all on
mean,
you.
it's liquid, so that's the nice part about it, right?
Yep, and what we'll wind up doing is we will set up two sub-accounts. One with the money from, that belongs to us, and one the money that we're stewarding. So that we can see what the interest is on each,
okay.
until Eric tells us that we get to keep the interest. So,
Let's make it part of the resolution that we get to keep the interest.
yeah, I wish. They're the ones that gotta
Doesn't
do
work
that.
that way,
supervisor.
really.
All right, so I would entertain a resolution, Josh, if you would be so kind.
I can still read the 2 here.
You have the title.
Oh, we'll need the title?
You're.
Okay.
So everybody has this in their packet.
Yep, yes.
So I make a motion for a resolution authorizing participation in the VACO/VML Virginia Investment Pool for the purpose of investing funds belonging to the Economic Development Authority of Fluvanna County, Virginia, in certain authorized investments in accordance with sections 2.2-4501 et sec and 15.2-1300 of the Virginia Code.
I will second that motion.
Resolution made by Josh, seconded by Valerie. Any further discussion? Call for the vote by name. Josh,
Yes.
Brittany,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Lois,
Yes,
Valerie,
Yes.
chair votes aye, 7-0. Thank you very much, folks. Ben, you and I have to get together and do the mechanics of this, okay? Awesome.
That's great.
All right. Our next visitor, we're very popular tonight, is Mr. Richard Holbert. And for those of you who don't know, our attorney is online right now. Hi, Jim.
How are you, Chair? Hello,
I'm-
everybody.
I'm
Hi,
doing
Jim.
well. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Richard, so you can tell us what we're doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So my name is Richard Hurlbert. I'm a bond lawyer, and about 10 years ago in 2013, my old firm delivered a bond counsel opinion to help this authority issue 2 series of bonds as a conduit issuer to assist the Region 10 folks in some capital improvements that they were seeking to accomplish. Those bonds were variable rate bonds with the interest rate pegged to the London Interbank Offered Rate, or LIBOR, which y'all may have heard that term before. Fast forward 10 years and LIBOR is being phased out as a benchmark interest rate in the next few weeks. And so in order to be able to have the interest computation process under these bonds continue to function efficiently, we need to address that. So what we are about today is presenting a resolution that will essentially authorize the amendment of the bond purchase and financing agreement that was done back in 2013, so that we have a mechanism to move forward in the case where we have this situation that we are encountered with now, should that recur. And also then to amend and restate each of those bonds that was issued back in 2013 to replace the LIBOR rate with sort of the newest and bestest benchmark that we have available to us now, which is called the SOFR, SOFR, Secured Overnight Financing Rate, which is announced by the Federal Reserve of New York, rather than, a consortium of London banks that was the genesis of the LIBOR rate for many, many years, and will no longer be publishing that rate coming up here in a few weeks. So, important things for the issuer, for this authority to be aware of. This is a modification of existing instruments. All of the protections and statutory provisions that were applicable to those bonds that we issued back in 2015 are still in full force and effect and will remain going forward. Really, this adjustment is being made of necessity. If we were to go forward without changing this term, really, the bank and the borrower, Region 10 and Atlantic Union Bank would be kind of stymied as far as, how they could go forward and determine how interest would be computed and how that relationship would go forward. So, really, this is something that is sort of hit the municipal bond market in a wave. This is one of maybe 3 or 4 of these transactions that I'm working on right now in one capacity or another. In this case, I'm the bond counsel. So once we get all the documents executed and we're ready to go, I will deliver a bond opinion addressed to this authority and to the lender to confirm that, everything has been done appropriately and that the bonds, continue as tax exempt obligations. And in this case, these bonds were issued as bank qualified tax exempt obligations. So my opinion will speak to that as well. So that in a nutshell is what we're doing. Pretty quick and dirty summary, but I'm happy to entertain questions or address any issues or concerns that you all may have. And I know Jim, this is probably his, not his first time around this block either. So I invite him to chime in if he has anything to add, or if I've missed anything, Jim, feel free.
I will.
Yeah, so Jim gave us his opinion on this, and basically this is a housekeeping or maintenance task, so there's not a whole lot of issue. I do have a specific question. Part of this is that the borrower agrees to pay all out-of-pocket expenses, pays for our attorney fees. Who do we bill? Region 10?
Yes, you would bill Region 10.
So the same people who pay us the money every year for the bond.
That's right.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
Yep.
So then we have to take care of that once Jim bills us, then we have to bill.
Well, Mr. Chairman, what I would do with your permission is I normally send the bill directly to bond counsel, asking him to forward it on to Region 10 for payment. And that's served me pretty well, and I get paid pretty expeditiously too, if that's acceptable to
So
the
it's
board.
not an extra task that we have to pick up, Jim?
No, sir, you don't pay anything to me. And the other thing I want to say on this is that I've looked at all the documents, and there's no liability on the part of the county or the authority. There's no promising of the full faith and credit of the county or the authority in this matter. And in addition, none of the members who have to sign these documents have any personal liability. And finally, the indemnity provisions in the original 2013 agreement remain in full force and effect.
Great. Any questions for either of the councils?
So just so I understand, is that, are we the sole decision maker, or do the other parties that are involved in this have any say in this decision? So are we gonna, is there, like, if we decide tonight, is it done? Or do we have to then lay it out? They've got to
The
review
language
it.
involved.
So that's a great question. And Jennifer and I spoke quickly before the meeting started about timing. But in fact, for a small little transaction back in 2013, this was a pretty complicated transaction that had many moving parts, and we did We did issue a second series of bonds through a separate issuer. The town of Louisa EDA issued another series of bonds. So the total principal amount of bonds was over 10 million. We broke it up in order to
Be bank qualified, right?
to be bank qualified on both sides. And so we will need to have the Louisa EDA basically come together and consider a very similar motion that you all, or resolution that you all are considering today. So that meeting is in the process of being scheduled. They're having something of a time trying to get a quorum together for us, but I have confidence that they will. And then Region 10 has to approve it as well. And they are meeting tomorrow, but unfortunately, as I understand it, a couple of their finance committee members will not be available for tomorrow's board meeting. So they are going to have to push their consideration of this matter to their June meeting. All that is to say that I think, and again, Jennifer, we talked quickly, but I think the better way to go here will be for us to approach you all probably at your next month's meeting or sooner with the package of documents that needs to be executed. Once we have a better idea as to timing, and the bank is still hemming and hawing a little bit about dates and how they want to implement this and how they want it to become effective. So it's these documents are substantially final for sure, but there will be some tweaks and adjustments that will be made as far as some of those terms. And so we're just going to hold off, and we'll be back in touch in the coming 2 or 3 weeks with final documents. And we'll get them into Jennifer's hands, and then perhaps at y'all's next meeting, we can meet and get everything signed up.
So the vice chair and I are both have some travel coming up. So it would probably be best if we're going to defer it to the next meeting.
We don't have to defer. I think the resolution can still happen. It's just signing of the documents.
Yeah. Okay, so that would have to
This
happen
part.
when I get back from Australia.
If I understand what you just explained is that, this is a housekeeping thing. That it doesn't change any of the other terms or conditions. It's replacing LIBOR with SOFR. And our decision is not contingent upon Atlantic Union or Louisa County, correct?
No, I mean, these bonds stand on their own.
Yes,
But
okay,
just from a standpoint of practical implementation.
right.
If we,
It's
we'll-
cleaner once everybody agrees.
exactly, yeah, I mean, we could go forward right now, if we plan to. And I mean, I do have signature pages, I brought them with me in case.
We don't have our seal, so we can't
We
really.
could sign and see, we do need the seal, because we're gonna amend and restate the bond, and that has to be pressed. So I mean, anyway, so yeah, but we theoretically could charge ahead right now if we wanted to, but I think it's probably best to just take it. This will be the first and biggest step to take. All that will be left after this is just signing documents, so.
But of the 4 entities involved, Atlantic Union, Region 10, Louisa County, and Savannah County, we're like first on the docket.
You are first on the docket, that's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Richard, when you send the documents back, will you send them directly to Jennifer to coordinate with the 2 members, the chairman and the treasurer is going to sign them? And
I will.
And I think we'll have to have a seal too. Is that correct?
That is correct, and the seal is not here today, Jim. You weren't in the room here when Jennifer and I talked about that, but yeah, we'll need the seal, and I'll send everything to Jennifer. And if I need to jump on the road and come up to oversee things, I could do that, but I don't think that's probably going to be necessary. I think
As
we've got-
long as Jim gets the final documents and gives us the thumbs up, there's really. no
Right, and
need.
what I'll do is I'll look at the file. You send me a copy of what you send them, the final ones, and I'll look at it, which I assume are pretty much what I've already seen. Will you
Yeah.
also, in that packet you send Jennifer, make it, for want of a better, so that make it clear what has to be signed and where, put little fancy signature stickers on everything so that there's no confusion?
I will.
And we also give Jennifer an express mail envelope to send it all back to you. That would be beautiful, to make it as painless for her as possible.
Sure, can do. No problems there at all.
Well, since Richard's been so accommodating, do we have any, is there any reason for us not to approve the resolution tonight? Then I would ask our newest member.
He's gotta read this 20
Yeah.
No, you just have to read. Just what did we need to read here?
The title.
For just the title. Okay.
All right, cool. So, I move the resolution regarding the modification of tax exempt revenue bonds by the Economic Development Authority of Fluvanna County, Virginia for the Region 10 Community Services Board Incorporated.
Second,
Resolution made by Jeff, seconded by Valerie. Do we need any more discussion, folks? Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. Jeff? Aye. Brittany?
aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Ben? Aye. Lois?
Hi,
Valerie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 7-0. Lois, at some point I need you to get your seal and get.
as I sent you the email, Ben has it.
Okay,
Thought Ben had.
well, but we still need you to sign. Lois,
I'll coordinate with you, Lois. I can probably come to you if we need to.
here. That's it all. Okay, Richard, thank you very much.
Okay, very good.
Uh,
Thanks, everyone. It's nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Good to meet
you.
you. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'm gonna leave too. Richard, it was good to see you. And good to see you, Richard.
Yeah, you too, Jim. Take care now.
Thank you, Jim.
You do too.
Bye, Richard. Bye, Jim.
See you in 13 more years, maybe.
13 more years. I hope you and I don't see each other in this capacity. Maybe on the beach.
Of course. Since I don't go get to see you as often as I'd like. If any member have any questions ever, just give me a call and I'll do my best to answer it or find somebody who can answer it. Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Good seeing you again. Goodbye.
I'm going to at this time open public comments. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak from the public? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comments and ask the county representative for the county report.
Okay.
Before you jump to Jennifer, could I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Before we get off the last topic and before we go to Jennifer. You realize when is all this supposed to be sealed and signed?
Probably at the June meeting.
And you guys are gonna have it? I mean, with you and Valerie, because usually you don't have a meeting when the two of you are out. So you're gonna
Well,
have,
We'll be back. I'll be back for the June meeting.
When is, what's the date of the June? Is that June 5th?
No,
I'll gladly
Well,
go to Australia and get
June
a
12th.
Just
Eric's gonna
saying.
approve travel.
Well, reasonable expenses, we can have it. No, it's reasonable expenses.
So the EDA meeting is on the 12th?
Yeah, yeah.
That's actually good.
So I come back on the 10th, so.
Okay, I come back on the.
All right, Lois, anything else?
and Ben's gonna bring the seal to the meeting?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, now, how about the county report? We have about 11 minutes.
Yes, I'll be very quick. I knew that we were gonna get here, so. All right, summary of April business activity is existing business visits conducted. There were 10.
Say that again. really fast.
Partner agencies, networking events, conferences attended 18. Other activities 12. Prospect real estate inquiries were up to 3. Commercial kitchen inquiries 1, and no small business referrals. A lot of people I'm working with right now are already connected, so no new referrals at this time.
Jennifer, I'm sorry. Okay.
Good.
This seems like a busy month to me compared to March.
So yes, it kind of ebbs and flows.
Okay.
There were a lot of existing business visits and
Okay.
calls and things.
And the real estate inquiries too.
Yes, inquiries have really started to pick up. You're gonna see the same thing For May, we're already
Okay.
in the second week of May and we've already had several
Mhm.
inquiries.
Okay, so you do a chart with all of those by month?
I do,
Okay.
I
that's
do.
okay.
So I have them all connected,
Mhm.
if you'd like to see.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. for
Yeah,
the
I
last
think that'd
meeting of
be,
the
that would
year.
be really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
Thank you.
last year I combined it all together, but what I can do is that way you can see a monthly. if you'd
yeah,
like to
a
see.
monthly change.
Okay, just to see the comparison.
Thank you.
And now keep in mind, this is just me right now. So hopefully we'll have a new person starting to help and support in July and this will increase quite a bit. So I'm very proud to just be one person and have these types of numbers.
Oh, yeah, no, that's impressive.
Not to toot my horn.
Good job, Jennifer.
Thank
You
you.
really don't have time to go to Australia.
Well,
She got an
know,
uncle under that.
well, but there's that thing called, business attraction.
Oh.
There are Australian companies that might want to relocate to Savannah
And
County.
why not?
Exactly. So we briefed on this last month. Harbor Hills is applying for a special use permit as well as 2987 Lake Monticello Road is a rezoning request. These were heard at the planning commission last month and both have moved forward to the board.
Where's 298?
The old Savannah Review Building.
Got it, okay.
Yes. That is a current.
And those are coming up on May 17th?
Correct. So the public hearing for these two projects is May 17th. Another one everybody's excited to see is Wawa. So the play will be heard at the planning commission tomorrow night for public hearing for a rezoning request. This is the corner of Route 250 and 15, also known as the Glass property. The rezoning there is from A1 and I1, so it's mixed use right there, to a B1 use, approximately 4.7 acres. So they're actually rezoning two parcels. If you can see my mouse, they're rezoning this parcel as well as this parcel. This parcel is an interesting parcel, mostly in Louisa, I was gonna say Louisa. And Louisa, as well as, this is just a cemetery. So from our perspective, we're not as concerned right now about it. The Wawa is gonna be a 6,000 square foot store with 9 fuel pumps.
Can you orient us to 15?
Yes, 15 is right here
Okay, and 250?
and 250 is right here.
Okay,
Crescent ends to the right.
Yes, right around over here.
so it's where the little, the asphalt pad is right now.
Yes,
Got
yes,
it.
all of this is the asphalt pad.
Got it.
And as you can see, there's the Fluvanna Louisa line right there. So this Wawa is all in Fluvanna. So yes. In addition, there's a flyer at everybody's table. We're gonna start a new community meeting series. We're gonna start with Fork Union. Specifically talking about development in Fork Union. We're basically going to use our FLDP presentations, each of
Good.
us. Ms. Booker's gonna kick it off. It's her district. Mr. Dahl is going to talk about infrastructure, specifically the DREAMO and the water and sewer. I'll be talking about economic development, and Douglas Miles, our planning director, will be talking about the planning and zoning and those types of uses and what is appropriate for each day.
And it's gonna be at the community center, right?
Yes, you've got a flyer right there. too.
Is it public?
Yes. But that one is specifically concentrating on the village. I think what they're thinking now is they want to potentially be like a traveling roadshow, and if this one is successful, we'll start doing all of the other districts. Office hours for SBDC are May 25th. I always like to plug that. So we are leading the community, the Central Virginia partnership for small business activity. So I'm really excited that we continue to stay on the top of that. So we have chamber breakfast. So these are back May 30th at 4 p.m. at the Fluvanna County Community Center. So I think that's it. Any questions? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
My report was all new business and old business. I do want to do two things though. At our next meeting, I would like us to approve the budget for the next fiscal year. So that Ben doesn't have to get approval by the board for every single transaction. We'll approve it in advance. I'd like us to consider continuing our business corner with the Fluvanna Review. It keeps us in front of people. Jennifer and I have a little thing where we're collaborating together now to get the content done. It seems to be working. And then we will have to elect officers at either the June or July meeting. July.
We moved it to July.
Okay. So be thinking about, if you want to be one of the named officers, just let me know and we'll put a slate together. And if you're a returning officer and you want to be on the slate, let me know. We can just have that ready for July.
In addition to that, there are 3 reappointments that will be happening in next month. So that'll be Valerie, Lois, and Jeffrey.
Jeff is.
Yeah, and Lois,
I will not be, I did not apply for reappointment.
understand,
Okay.
and you're gonna be missed, but I totally understand why. Lois.
Well, I mean, I hate to be mushy right now, but I think you guys are just absolutely wonderful. I think Jennifer has done an absolutely wonderful job, and I think it's going to get more and more exciting for the EDA. And I am sorry, I'm going to miss it because I love Fluvanna County, I really do. And I love to see it grow wonderfully, which I know in your hands it will. So I miss you guys already and I haven't left.
Thank you for your service, Lois. It's been great working with you.
Thank you.
And we'll stay in touch.
So you'll be at the June meeting, correct?
Yes,
You will be.
unless something goes sideways with me, yes, I will be with the June meeting.
Yeah, so we will have at least one new director for July. And you both gonna reapply?
Yes. This time I'll put the right email, I think.
I did reapply. I got a confirmation from Leon today.
Okay, good.
And I'll check with Caitlin, but I don't know if those reappointments are going on the opposite, either the first June meeting or the second June meeting.
Okay.
Do you need another application? Just take the
Yeah.
one you just got.
Yeah. If you just want to give us
Oh, you got the right.
we got the right one.
We're good on that.
The email, okay, we're all good.
All right,
It's like, why haven't I heard anything in the meeting and anyway?
so Lois, anything else for the good of the order?
No, yeah, thank you for everything. And I really
Yeah.
do think you people are great. I really, really do.
Brittany? Ben?
No, nothing.
Josh? Valerie?
I'm good.
Jeff?
Happy to be here.
Good.
All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by
Second.
Josh, second by Valerie, all in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Thank you very much. That was a great meeting. We got a lot of.
I think we did a great job, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.